Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Ryan, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Different for all of you usual viewers. I would love to put a number to that, but I simply can't because there is no number of usual viewers. It's all over the place, between 0 and 20. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, that's besides the point. What I'm here to do today is to dig up some old Ryan content, or I don't know, easy video uploads, I guess. That is the most perhaps cynical way of putting it. This is just, I'm trying to branch out, do something different, see what really clicks with people. So, to that end, let me tell you a bit of a story. A very short story here, just as a setup, a little preamble, if you will. I have maintained a blog for, what is it, 2026? It's been roughly 23 years. 23 and a little bit at this point. I started it in December 2022, and we're going strong to this very day. And I thought today that I would read to you the very first article that I ever wrote for my blog, which is a review of an episode of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Because it was kind of a slow ball kind of thing, first thing for me to do for my new, brand spanking new website. I was very much inspired at the time by websites like xentertainment.com, imockery.com, Gorilla Mask. I'm trying to think of some others that were influential. None are coming to mind. Scary Crayon is another one. I think I found after I started doing my own blog anyway, but that's besides the point. Like, these sort of... Gorilla Mask doesn't really fit. It was very different, but it was the same kind of blog, and it very much inspired what I built. But nostalgia blogs, basically. So I wanted to just have my own place where I could celebrate the things from my childhood that I enjoyed. Which is kind of weird because my childhood wasn't over. I started this when I was 16. What you were about to hear was written by 16-year-old Ryan. So take that with a grain of salt. Well, not with a grain of salt, but use that as context to understand why it's written the way it is. And yeah, I think that about says everything I needed to set the scene. So without further ado, let us get straight to the review of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show episode, Mario Meets Coopzilla.
Hey, paisanos! It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's our game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
Today, I present to you one of the most amazing things to ever hit the small screen. The one show that changed the lives of so very many young children and one old wrestler. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Yes, that's right, paisanos. It's everyone's favorite Nintendo-based cartoon show. I'm certain that everyone I know remembers and loves the show dearly. Sadly, a limited number of episodes are available to download, and the show itself has been off the air for several years. But that won't stop us from having supersized fun. So grab a super mushroom or two and get ready for some nostalgic reading. It all started way back in 1989, or so I've been told, when the first episode aired. Nintendo lovers all around the North America were eagerly anticipating the new show starring Super Mario and his buddies. Actually, I don't know if anyone was actually anticipating it. Maybe it just came along and got popular, like the Legend of Zelda cartoon that was also featured on the Super Show, but I'll get to that later. In any case, kids were expecting to have a half hour of animated Mario goodness. Boy, did they get stiffed. In reality, there was only about 12 minutes of animated footage on the Super Show, The rest was live-action Mario and Luigi bumbling around what I am presuming was their home/office. Mario was played by the famous wrestler Captain Lou Albano. Luigi was played by some guy that nobody knows. Yes, that's right. Danny Wells donned the green overalls for the first 10 minutes of the Super Show. They also got to voice the animated versions of their characters. Who would have guessed? I would have thought the execs at DIC? DIC? I don't even remember how that's pronounced. Would have hired some other guys. Oh well, win some, lose some. The one upside, if you will, of the live-action segments was that there was always a guest star who happened to be rather popular during the era. None spring to mind, but I'm sure they used to be household names. The Bros also had some kind of weird Ninja Turtles-esque pizza fetish. Their phone was covered in pizza, and there were pieces of the stuff strewn all about the place, along with the probably empty boxes. This just goes to show that not all Italians who live in Brooklyn fly the straight and narrow. No, these guys were rebels. They made their place messy, and they liked it that way. Danny Tanner would have had several heart attacks. Actually, I think Bob Saget might have been a guest star once, but damned if I can remember. Well, to say the least, the cartoon was excellent. It came out after Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, and it featured all the bosses that everyone loved, including German-tongued Mouser, three-headed snake Triclide, and of course, the infamous King Koopa, who has more recently been named Bowser. It seemed really authentic, if you only consider the characters. All the good guys and bad guys from Super Mario Bros. 2 were there, but the plots and scenery were unlike anything ever seen in the video game. Not to say that any of the plots were better than Super Mario Bros. 2's. They were all pretty bad. The last episode I can remember seeing was entitled Mario Meets Koopzilla, in which Mario and the gang, which is Luigi, Toadstool, or Princess Toadstool, who is now known as Peach, and Toad, traveled to some faraway town to get the Super Sushi, which would make Mario giant, and hopefully enable him to squish King Koopa out of existence once and for all. Unfortunately, Koopa got there first and stole the Super Sushi, thereby making him Koopzilla, and enabling him to stomp the city to rubble. Luckily, some scientist whips up another bash of the Super Sushi, and Mario gains a beer belly, pot belly, jelly belly, love handles, and lots of fat. Really, most of the growth was in the stomach area. It was gross and hilarious at the same time, like farting. Although, that is more of a perspective thing. So eventually, the good guys triumph, and all is well again, as once again, normal-sized King Koopa escapes into the night. Back at the scientist's lab, the gang celebrates the victory, and Mario gobbles up a plate of shrinking something or other, and becomes Mini Mario. Hilarity ensues. The end. See, nothing special story-wise, but the one-liners were always great. Of course, nobody who was actually watching the show back then had the mental capacity to absorb any of this. They just liked the bright colors and the recognizable characters. Nowadays, we can see how uninspired the plots were. It's not like today's cartoon plots are any better, though. The last thing I should mention about the Super Show is the extra special Friday episodes. This was the day everyone waited for. This was the day that made the week worth living through. This was the day where The Legend of Zelda would air instead of Super Mario Bros. It's really a shame that Zelda only got 13 episodes before it was cancelled. Everyone I know prefers it over Mario's offering. Maybe that's because they don't remember it very well. The Link of today and Link on the show are two very different people. Today's Link is a serious adventurer and hero of time with blonde hair. The Link on the show was a joker who just wanted a piece of Zelda's sweet, sweet can. Plus, he had brown hair. Needless to say, I prefer old Link. This show wouldn't have been a comedy if it weren't for good old Link. He truly did save the day. The stories on The Legend of Zelda weren't much better than what Mario had, and with the exception of Link's snappy dialogue, they weren't half as funny. Of course, there was a lot more action and magic in Zelda, and as everyone knows, Action plus magic equals cool. So do we have a winning formula on our hands? Apparently not. 13 episodes more or less means failure. But there is that slim chance that failures can be good, though. Just look at Undergrads, Mission Hill, and Clone High. All dropped after a single season, yet they're all great shows. All I have to say is that Zelda could have gone somewhere. I don't see why it didn't. It had the potential. It had the franchise. It had the theme song. But it seems the general public has failed us again, and it just didn't want to give the ratings necessary to keep it going. Oh well. All in all, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was a pretty decent show. Some may argue that the live action was good, but I would rather have more cartoony fun. A few of you may criticize me for saying a couple bad words about The Legend of Zelda, and all I have to say to you is... Excuse me, princess. They weren't the best cartoons on TV, but they were damn good while they lasted. So if you can, build some kind of show developing company someday and revive these shows. It will benefit all of mankind and make many, many fans very happy people. Well, that certainly was a time capsule, let's say. Oh, reading through it again, a little rough. You know, I was noting inconsistencies in the writing as I went, and, you know, this is the first thing I ever wrote, not for school, so, you know, there was plenty of learning to be had, and obviously this was a product of its time. Not everything I said accurate anymore, not even remotely. Some things maybe a little bit, some things maybe not, I don't know. But it was fun to go back, and yeah, that was a little piece of nostalgia for you, a piece of Ryan's history, something maybe a lot of people don't even know exists on the internet, and has for well over 20 years now. So yeah, there's that. You can go check it out. You can go read it. Okay, so I don't think there's really anything more that I need to say about this. It was a fun little retrospective of an old thing I wrote, and now it's a new video I've recorded. And all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye!
Do the Mario! Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. You got it! It's the Mario! Do the Mario! Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now.